नमस्कार दोस्तों, मैं अमिताभ एंड यू आर वाचिंग एड टॉक्स विद अमिताभ। और जैसा कि हमने वायदा किया है, every time in every episode we are going to get you a personality, a social influencer or an educational influencer, somebody who has created an impact. And we are going to learn from their life and times and their experiences and how they have carried through and their experiences that they have acquired. And in the process, we take up ideologies and ideas which are shared on this platform of Ed Talks with Amita. And today, we have a very distinct achiever. Besides being so much of a prolific achievement in the education sector, we have an education influencer who has joined an institution about 40 years back. It's almost about 4 decades, and has rendered the services and have grown through the ranks in the same institution in the educational sector. And friends, it'll be, for 4 decades in a single institution. That is no ordinary achievement in itself. And there are a lot of ups and downs that we all face in our lives. Institutions go through ups and downs, and we have today someone who has seen the complete life cycle of an institution, has across the 4 decades, and has grown, joined as a teacher, grown into the hierarchy and the ranks, acquiring the experience, then becoming the vice principal, then the principal and the administrator. Now the group has also and helped the group even expand further. Friends, I'm talking about none other than Mrs. Rita Chatterjee, principal and administrator of Apeejay Group of Schools in Kolkata, which comes under Apeejay Education Trust in Kolkata. And friends, so without any further delay, let us be ready to acquire an insight into that. What does it take to be in a single institution? How, the pros and cons. At the same time, we will also get to understand and learn a lot of nuances in the education sector. And today, education sector is undergoing a major change, be it because of the lockdown or be it because of the education policy. So without any further delay, we have Ms. Rita Chatterjee waiting in our virtual studio of the School Times, connecting with us straight from Kolkata. Welcome to Ed Talks with Amitabh. Rita Chatterjee ji, it's a pleasure that you could find time to be in our show.
Thank you, Amitabh. Thank you for inviting me. And I quite like the introduction that you were giving about me. You said a lot about the place that I work in. So,
No,
when you say that, when you say I've been in a place for 40 years, it says a lot about the organizers also. It's a family. It's a family. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for emphasizing that it is not just about the person who stayed there for these 4 decades. It is also about the people who are behind the scene, making that institution grow. The management, the vision and the policy and the approach of the management as well makes a huge difference. And friends, so let us try and understand from the directly from Mr. Chatterjee that what is this synergy all about? What is this, how does this relationship work for 4 decades?
Amitabh, I've lost your voice. I can't hear you.
I think, all right, there's a, can you hear me now?
No.
Can I request you to log out and log in once again, ma'am? Because in my side, you're visible and audible.
Wait a minute.
Friends, bit of a technical glitch, but then we are going to get on with the journey. And when we talk about Apeejay Education Trust, it has started with an institution in Park Street. It has gone on to expand its wing in Salt Lake and then in Bhubaneswar, and now they have come up with a new unit in Haldia as well. We have, ma'am, can you hear me now?
Clear.
Am I audible?
I think it is better with the headphone.
All right,
Clear.
perfect, perfect. That's it, yeah. All right, so friends, without any further delay, because it is all about Ms. Chatterjee and her journey, her life and times. Ma'am, can I request you to give a quick insight into your life and times, your journey, how it has begun, how you got into education, your childhood, and the way you progressed further.
Actually, I think my career has been what I dreamt of. I always wanted to be a teacher, and I turned out to be one. So I'm happy with the way I have been able to move in my career path, and I always wanted to be able to influence children and be of help to children, and I have done that. So I'm happy with the career path. Well, to go down history began way back in the year 1982, and
Okay.
then on it moved on, and 92 I became the principal of the school, and the journey has been fantastic. The journey is fantastic. Yeah. And
Th- th-
but it is a journey of emotion. It's a
Okay.
journey of emotions,
Okay. Journey of emotion.
and
Can you elaborate on that,
it's a
ma'am?
journey. It's a journey of lot of learning, and it's a journey of wanting to be good, wanting, literally wanting to be good, wanting to do more, and creating an infrastructure along with your colleagues which says that yes, we want to be more effective, we want to do more for the children, for the parents who trust that their cherished ones with us. There could be
All
nothing better than that. The trust that they impose upon us is what
right.
we actually live by, is what we
All
actually
right.
live by.
So beautifully said. Two things that has driven her journey is her desire to be with children, make a difference in their life, and to be good. And friends, if you want to help children, and if you are inherently good and you want to be in a profession that can help others, there is nothing better than teaching and education itself. And what Mrs. Chatterjee just now emphasized on the element of trust, that trust is something which is the kind of trust that a parent is posing in a teacher or in an educational institution, or the child has in a teacher. That is an immense responsibility. How do you see the trust factor in today's context, the modern context? I think we if we look into the Gurukul, it was all about teacher is everything, and today in a modern times things are different. But yes, the basic objective has not changed since Gurukul times till today. So how do you see the trust
So,
element today?
so Amitabh, it's exactly as you said. Actually, nothing has really changed. Yes, even now, the teacher is important as long as the teacher wants to be the ideal teacher. In our calling to be the ideal teacher, we've got to put ourselves out there. We cannot say that we are professionals, so we don't take calls after so and so time. We don't take calls before so and so time. That is not the calling of the teacher. If you have agreed to be a teacher, you have to be on 24/7, and therefore I say it's a family responsibility. you know
All right. So once you have decided to be a teacher, it is you have choose it with a lot of caution. But once you've chosen it, you cannot look back. You cannot turn your back towards the responsibility that you have. It's a 24/7 responsibility.
and Amitabh, I want to say something. There is no other job more rewarding than that of a teacher. Is that the kind of the look of appreciation that we have in from the parents, from the children, be it a concert day, be it a report card day, be it an ordinary day in school, be it a rainy morning, the look of joy, appreciation that we get from parents and children, that does a lot for us. That is like the vitamin for us.
So there is a joy in the appreciation that we get from the children and the parent day in and day out is the vitamin, and which I'm sure must be making all the teachers giving more immunity to sometimes that bit of if and but that creeps in there, because that is part and parcel, because there is no rose without thorn, but then rose is more important than that thorn.
Yes, yes.
And so
I mean, that
beautifully
happens.
said.
That happens. Yeah, yeah, yeah. that
You were
happens.
saying,
Certain
ma'am, but
amount of
that happens.
I'm saying that happens. Yes, certain amount of burning out feeling perhaps sometimes does creep in. One cannot deny that. But again, it is a rejuvenation to be able to go back to that place the next morning. To go back amidst your children, to go and formulate more policies, more rules, more designs, which can make the children happier, which can make your teaching learning more effective. There is so much to do, Amitabh. There's plenty to do.
There's so much to do, absolutely. And you have in 4 decades, of course, everyone in their professional journey goes through the different stages, but in the same institution, you were the teacher, then you got you gained experience, acquired the confidence of the management. They believe that you can do the job for them, and you rose in the ranks, and you became the vice principal, then the principal. In this whole journey in the same institution, you have people. There are so many teachers who are together, who are with same years of experience, then one is chosen to be taken to the higher responsibility, to be a coordinator, vice principal, or a principal. And you still have the colleagues who are working, and then there's a kind of a it's easier to move to another institution and become a principal, or the coordinator, or the headmistress, but then being with the same set of people, and then you become a senior to them in the responsibility. How did you manage, and were there any challenges?
No, again, I'll tell you, it is the human factor, Like we began by saying you've got to be a good individual. And if you're basically a good individual, your goodness comes through. So as such, no, in this process that of escalation, I've had no challenges really. I still have no challenges. It is a
Okay.
lot of learning together, and all my colleagues, all of us, we exist as a big family, as a big family. And as I speak now, it's emotional. The journey is fantastic.
That
And
is that is so
it's
amazing.
important, and it's important that that its transparency is very, very important. So in whatever policies you lay out, in whatever work you want to do, if you have your team with you, if you're discussing with your team before you formulate, you have the trust of the team with you. They know that the idea of doing something is ultimately enriching the institution where we all belong to. And if the institution is enriched, it helps us, it helps the children, it helps the stakeholders who belong to that institution.
And no questions can be asked about your belongingness to this APJ Education Trust and its group of institutions. 4 decades is no ordinary journey, no ordinary commitment to the cause of education and to a single institution.
But I would say sometimes I think time has just flown past. I mean, I feel that, come on, where did the years go? So it's been so fast paced. Yes, it's been so fast paced because there is always in school education, particularly, Amitabh, there's not a single dull day. There's always something that we need to do, something more interesting than yesterday, something more challenging than yesterday, something more demanding than yesterday. So therefore time just flew past.
And that's so time just flies by.
And I
And
must say, Amitabh, I must say this, that I'm glad that we did not feel time burdening on our shoulders. It was nice. We enjoyed our times. We loved it. We love our times in school. We
I
feel
would
like
like to
children
ask.
sometimes.
Absolutely. I would like to ask a question on this to you. Trying to recall trying to get 2 lines from my memory of school days. There was a poem somewhere, the 2 lines that I read somewhere, that what is this life full of care? There is no time to stand and stare, right? So
Yes.
if I remove what you said just now, what out of this, you had a life full of care, and you had no time to stand and stare. So
No, 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 I refute. We had a lot of time to stand and stare because, you know, all the school programs that happen, all the movements that happen are programs when we are actually standing and looking at how the child has evolved, at how the child who joined in lower KG with difficulties, how that child confidently goes on stage and speaks today, and as an alumni. how bright they are, how good they are doing. So we are standing and staring, we're enjoying our stand and stare also.
So beautiful said,
And
and I would like to emphasize here for our all our viewers and audience watching us, friends, what a beautiful philosophy that Ms. Chatterjee has just now emphasized upon. When I quoted, she said, "No, we have enough time to stand and stare and enjoy because." The joy is in the work that we are doing. There are moments when we see a child blossom, when we see a seed which came to us blossom into a plant and a tree. That is the joy that we have. All these events that we have within the school, and that to me is a lesson that, friends, when you are in a work profession, that's what I'm learning from Ms. Chatterjee just now, that when you are in a workspace, it is your attitude, how you are looking at your work. Because if you look at your work with this eye that she has just now explained as her way to look at things, that every moment is a joy. Even when there is an event that is being organized in a school, it is not a burden, but it's the time to stand and stare and enjoy that what these youngsters are doing and how well they are blossoming. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, ma'am.
absolutely.
This brings me to ask you, uh, 40 years to education. It's, if we go by the Indian Penal Code, and the life imprisonment is not more than 14 years. So at least almost about three lifetimes you have spent in a single institution, so to say. What has been, I can easily say this symbiotic relationship that you have, this is my presumption that you probably would be arguably the only person or the oldest person who has seen this school go through. People may have joined with you, may have left, people may have joined later, but you are there. So I could see that APJ has grown with you, this particular unit, and you have grown with APJ. It's a symbiotic relationship. So I would like to understand your education philosophy, and how is it symbiotic with the APJ philosophy?
Okay, I'll tell you one thing. First is your symbolism with prison and 14 years. No, I haven't been prison. None of us have been imprisoned. We've evolved. We've evolved.
Right,
We've evolved with
right.
the system that we have been into. And if you have been through our website, etc., our philosophy of education is this: that every child enjoys his or her time in school. Every child learns during his or her time in school, and even after school, carries that learning forward home. The home environment also becomes a learning environment because the child is being taught in the school. The child goes back home and talks about the same kind of learning that we have affected in the child in school, and that every child feels happy next morning to come back into the school. So we have no children, believe you, Amitabh, there's not a single kid who comes in crying to our school precincts. Not a single
That's
kid.
that's so beautifully said. The happiness of the child is the ultimate.
And
Learning.
also, and also
Yes,
we
ma'am.
feel it is there clearly mentioned in our philosophy that the child out of this learning is able to make a dignified career after school, college. That is the ultimate aim of education, that the child is able to live in dignity, in peace,
So,
in dignity with
so
himself or herself.
happiness, dignity, and having the skill to live their life on their own terms once they
Yes,
graduate out of the school.
yes.
And when you talk about this happiness, I was going through your school website, the whole group
Thank you.
of the four institutions, and there's a motto written. The APJ motto was written was something like Shakti, Drishti, and Pragya. How do, I would like to know a little more, and how does this blend with this ideology that you have?
I must tell you that the motto came from the students. It was an exercise that we ran through with the students, and it was their working almost that helped us in creating, in going nearby these philosophies.
Okay.
When we say Shakti, we do not mean the muscle power, but we mean the Shakti in, say, Goddess Durga, the Shakti in the Trinayan, the Shakti that makes the child realize, yes, I can do. Come whatever difficulty, I am able to learn. I'm able to understand. I'm able to comprehend. I'm able to critically analyze. I'm able to apply what I'm learning. That is the Shakti that is given into the child. So no child feels left back. We have a system where we take every child with us by our lesson plans. We have the individual education plans. We have the inclusive education system where we lay a lot of stress in our school. So every child is empowered to understand that I am unique, my friend is unique, and we together can make a beautiful, harmonious world to live in. When we talk about drishti, drishti is the power to be able to visualize, not just see, but you're able to visualize what you need out of your immediate surrounding, what you need out of your life, what you need to do for the peace in the family, what you need to do for the peace of your friend, for your neighbor friend who's sitting next to you. That is the drishti to understand. And finally, the most important word is pragyan, not just gyan, but pragyan, which is the intuitive knowledge. All of us, what is it when we go into a class to teach and we ask the children, not from the chapter, but from before the chapter, and we realize the child knows everything? What is it? It is that intuitive knowledge within the child, which is pragyan. And that is what is beautifully being, evocated out of students in everyday classroom talk and everyday classroom discussions. And that is what our teachers have been imbued with, and our children are being imbued with. The policy, the idea, the philosophy of Shakti, Drishti, and Pragyan.
So beautifully framed and so beautifully explained by you about these three ideologies. Friends, I think we every school has an ideology, and we all are working towards this common goal, but then every institution has its own way and the focus, and these are the three focus of this group, which is spearheaded by Mrs. Rita Chatterjee as a principal and administrator of APJ Education Trust. And here we will go further, but before we go on further, with your permission, ma'am, I could see there a lot of love and affection being showered in the in the message box. I can see for you that.
Amitabh, that is the value of being in a place for 40 years. When you are in a place for 40 years, the love comes out of the buildings. When you walk into the Apeejay School, Park Street, Salt Lake, Bhubaneswar, the love comes out from the building. It comes from those stones that make the buildings. So,
absolutely. Yeah. I could see that glee in your eyes when you talk about the institution, the ownership. I can sense. Yeah.
I say this, there's a blessing in the buildings. I say this with a lot of conviction. There's a blessing in the buildings.
That's so beautifully said. And that is where I can see what you meant at the beginning when you said there's been an emotional journey. And I can see an emotional expression there as well. There's a blessing in the building. There is a emotion in the walls of the building also in this journey of 40 years. So before we take our discussion further, I would like to also tell our audience, with your due permission, to encourage them, if they want to ask and make an inquiry to understand something about you, about your life and times, they can feel free to ask questions as well. Will that be okay with you, ma'am?
Surely, absolutely. I welcome it.
Friends, you are watching Ed Talks with Amitabh on the School Times web channel, right now being broadcasted live on Facebook and YouTube, and you are listening to Life in Times and Experience of Mrs. Rita Chatterjee, Principal and Administrator of APJ Education Trust in Kolkata, which is spreading its wings and diversifying, taking education in different areas at the moment. In last one decade, the expansion has been very, very sporadic. So I'll be waiting for your questions and queries as soon as I get some. But then I would also like my audience to know, friends, while you put your questions, it keeps on scrolling up on my screen. I keep looking at it on the side to to have your questions. If your question is being put up or a comment is being put up and I have not taken it, please keep copy pasting it again and again till I take that, because if it scrolls up, I may miss it in our discussion and journey. So we have a lot of, we have Ankita Bhattacharya, acknowledging the explanation of the motto, Epijay motto that you have given to them. There's a lot to learn from every aspect of life. Even a motto of an institution is with a reason and with a meaning. Now, before we go on to some more serious bit in this journey, in of 4 decades, what are some of the challenges that you have faced and overcome as well?
Amitabh, challenges I must have faced. Challenges I must have faced. But since we take nothing as challenge, I will not be able to recall to you what can. But I remember of an incident. It was Ma'am Preeti Paul. She is one of the directors of the Apeejay Surendra Group, and it was the Apeejay Anand Children's Library, as we function now, is a creation of her mind. She wanted, and this came before Right to Education came in. This came in the year 1992. She wanted that the children from the nearby slums be able to come to the library and enjoy the space. There was a time, Amitabh, when that happened, certain parents felt that that it may not be very safe, and it just took us 1 or 2 sessions of explanation and listening and understanding with the parents for now Anand Library to be where it is. It is an absolutely integrated structure with the school, where the children of the school, the regular uniform kids, and the children of the Anand Library, they work together, study together, they do their programs together. In fact, now when we have our online sessions, they are coming online as well.
Okay, that's so beautiful. So, what I could make out that you take challenges in your stride. You rather don't look at it as a challenge. You find ways to get it done.
Absolutely.
Friends, I think the message that I'm drawing from our conversation right now from Ms. Chatterjee is we talk the language of challenges. That word is good enough to motivate us. But what is important is not to look at it as a challenge, but to look at it as an opportunity and find ways to get things executed. And in the journey, you may find certain things are practical and feasible, certain things are not, but you can only get to know after you try and you make an attempt to do it. If the idea is logical, you must go.
At least one has to make an effort and not run away from the challenge. Challenges are normal, it's natural, it'll come. But that doesn't mean you run away. You face it and you meet it and you work around it.
And it is definitely, once you make an effort, it is only the effort that lead to success and make things happen. And
I mean, for example, sorry, I'm just saying something. For example, just now, this year, the year of 2020, if you say these are terrible times, you are making it terrible times. The time becomes terrible or good in the way you are handling it, the way you are dealing with it. So therefore, as you said, find an opportunity in a problem of challenge, and you will be able to work your way around it. So that's what we are doing.
That is so fantastic, and that is how probably the journey of life progresses. We need to be proactive and move on.
Yeah.
We've started getting questions. Before I come with some more of my questions that I have, I could see. I could also recognize the name of the person here. Is known to me. Is a young friend of mine who is a rising anchor, Sahil Agarwal. He calls himself Sahil the anchor because his name also spells that way, and he's a youngster he's a Zavarian and doing well in his anchoring in Calcutta circles. Sahil's question is, how are the schools planning to inculcate leadership qualities and teamwork qualities, as there are no activities like sports and co-curricular which are major? His question is, in the current context, in the lockdown context, as I could make out, that how are the schools trying to take this, inculcate leadership in teamwork?
Okay, I'll give you a brilliant example. See, what is happening now when we are trying to work via project method, we are giving the students something we are teaching in the classroom. Say we have taught photosynthesis in the classroom. And after having taught that, we tell the children that look out into wherever, out of your window. You don't have to have a garden space, but you will have a window space. Look out of your window and see, look at the color of the leaf on the tree outside. Is it green? And then if it is green, you form a team with your friends and talk to your friends and find out why is it green. And there are some children who don't want to do it. Those kids, we say, okay, if you haven't done it, no problem, you sit with the teacher and be able to evaluate what the others have done. So what happens in this way, we're taking everybody in the journey, and that child who has not wanted to do is trained to become better than the rest by feeling that, okay, I have become a sort of a leader. I'm now able to judge your work along with my teacher. And then this way the scope moves on to all the other children as well. So that's what we
So,
are doing.
you know,
And
we,
please,
we
there are immense possibilities. Amitabh, the possibilities are immense. I can go on and on.
Absolutely. So, Sahil, possibilities are immense, and schools and educators are aware of their responsibility, and they are finding ways in this lockdown itself, because we may be limited in our physical being to move out of our houses, but our imagination is not in the lockdown.
Not bound.
And that is where teachers are working on finding ways and methods and skills, as ma'am pointed out, to use their skills of imagination still to nurture them. And I would like to put in my bit to it, to add to what Ms. Chatterjee said in response to what you said. You know, even caterpillar to butterfly,
Yes.
there is a phase when the caterpillar has to be in a cocoon, and is in a total lockdown, surrounded by that, and while you are being in that phase, it goes through that metamorphosis. And I think education sector and we all are going through this metamorphosis, and
You
we
know,
are
if
going
Sahil if Sahil has seen the lockdown videos that are being done nowadays, every child is performing and they come in the frame, and that frame is made into one video and is being moved around the whole school. Everybody sees it. So it's a great amount of fun for that kid who is there in the video. And it also works well for parents, because parents can see how their child has learned the art or the drawing or jumping or the skipping or the yogasana or the breathing. So, it's very nice. Parents also can see how their children are learning, have learned. So it's like a 360-degree effect that is happening now.
it's so beautifully explained that the kind of videos which are circulating, kind of initiative these youngsters are saying, what Ms. Chatterjee said, I'll take the liberty of summarizing in two words further, and that is, leadership has two requirements, which Ms. Chatterjee just now pointed out what is happening in schools. One is, besides many others, one is idea, another is initiative. And while we are in a lockdown, we are compelled to think new ideas. Innovation is at its best. Teachers are thinking new ideas to make things effective. Students are thinking and generating new ideas to connect, to work their ways to an achievement. And then they are taking initiatives, as ma'am said, to make these videos, these presentations, to find ways, upgrading technology, and all that is also a skill. And another very important point, Sahil, and all the viewers who are watching us right now, is leadership is tested the most in the times of crisis. And
Yes,
right now,
absolutely.
leadership in everyone is being tested, and it is the once we come out, it's going to blossom.
Yeah,
So,
true, true, true.
So, ma'am, this brings me to this question brings me to the back to the current context, the lockdown days. This uh, How are we in your group of institutions, which you are part of? how has the experience been of education? There's been a lot of there were two, three things which has been talked about in the context of education and lockdown. One is the efficiency of teaching, the outcome, learning outcomes. Is it are they learning? And you have mentioned about the lesson plan. I would like you to throw a little more light. What is the satisfaction level in terms of learning outcomes during this lockdown times? And the other is that how is school, your institution, taking initiative for building that social skills in the children, social quotient?
Yeah. See, here we have to thank and talk about CBSE. They have, for the benefit of all of us, got around and have given us the curriculum, the reformed curriculum, the rationalized curriculum, where they have not only told us that what we are going to teach, mind you, they have not said what we are not going to teach. They're calling it rationalized curriculum. So it's not as if you're not teaching. You may teach what you want to teach in the form of a project method, maybe, but and out of the rationalized curriculum, they've also dovetailed that, and they're telling us about the learning outcome that one can get out of teaching. The method of teaching is also being provided. So, that the pedagogy is being given, and we are being told what should be the outcome of learning for that particular chapter, for that particular topic. And not only that, when we are see, an essential part of learning has to be evaluation. Ultimately, the child will have to be evaluated on certain scales, as simple as they may be just now. So therefore, when we are doing that, the evaluation is based on the learning outcome. So if the learning outcome has not been to its desired effect, the evaluation shows. And
That is,
therefore this is necessary.
and I think so beautifully explained. And
And
here
your
I have
next
a yes, ma'am.
sorry,
Please
your
go
next
ahead.
question is how we are bringing about the social quotient. What is
Right.
happening is children are not allowed to feel lonely. They're not allowed. Just give me a minute. The children are never allowed to feel lonely, in the sense that when the teacher is teaching, see, one must give a lot of kudos to the way the teachers suddenly took up this technology of online. The children,
Right.
they were into it. They know they're always with the gadgets. But for teachers, they took it up, and it was training online, it was training over line, it was training overnight. And all of us are into it, and now we are good at it. So when we are doing the teaching, we are requesting children to have their videos on, and when they have their videos on, we are talking to them, referring to them by their first names, as teachers always do, and asking them questions, not about the what is being taught, but about, have you had your breakfast? Why are you looking so sleepy? Are you all
Absolutely.
right? Where's the smile gone? Come on. It's being done like that. So therefore, the social quotient is being maintained. And another way the social quotient is being maintained in these various after school programs that we are having. Would you
Okay.
believe it? During this lockdown period, the senior section children got together and had an evening of coffee, relaxed evening of coffee. They told us, ma'am, sit with your coffee mugs and we perform for you. And they actually performed, and it was a beautiful show, sitting in our own homes and watching the children perform. So that is how,
Wow.
we are together. And I can tell you, yes, we are missing. All the children are missing school. There are, when teachers, sometimes when they go to school and they teach from school, the children say, ma'am, you are in school, why can't we come? Because they can make out. Why can't we come? So we have to explain then to them that, you have to wait a while, let the government take its decision, and then you will come into school. So they are
I,
missing school.
I can swear on that children are waiting and rearing to go to the school.
Yeah.
Your situation is changed. Earlier, we used to hear about stories about children bunking the classes during your earlier days, but nowadays, I think children are waiting to go to the classes, and the
They,
subject they never
they,
liked, they would be wanting to be there as well.
Yes, because the fun of school is not only your teacher and your teacher interaction. The fun is your friend. The fun is going to the toilet. Fun is going to the canteen. Fun is rushing down those staircases. Fun is evading the teacher's eye. These are all fun things for children when they're growing up, and they're
Absolutely.
missing that. They're missing that.
And friends, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share and emphasize here that uh, don't worry. One thing is surely going to happen, and I think everything happens for a reason. There's always a silver lining. a lot of things which were being taken for granted earlier. This lockdown has made us realize the value of it.
Yes,
You know, the teachers
absolutely.
at the classrooms and the schools, you know, I'm sure the kind of value it is,
That
won't
nudging,
even,
that nudging the friend, that nudging the friend, and that pinching the friend. These also
right,
have a certain amount of emotional values in the children. They are missing it all.
absolutely. You know, all that seems to be a problem and a burden, and people have realized that it was so very necessary for life, and probably lockdown has taken us back to the basics. It's only going to take us towards a better days in times to come, and that's what Ms. Chatterjee also emphasized. Social quotient is being maintained through various ways, and even after school activity classes, as she explained, is where the social quotient is being maintained. I have a very interesting question. Interestingly, I have few people who are known to me, and actually, the people who are connected, known, often come. And we have Mrs. Indrani Guha. She's also a very good friend, a dear friend. She's the principal of a school in Dahanu in Maharashtra. That is Credo Word School, and she has put up a statement and an inquiry for you. I admire how you portray yourself as having sailed through the years smoothly. I'm very curious to know that uh, if you were to write, by, sorry,
Autobiography, what would be the name?
right, what
What
would
would
be
be the
the
name of the book?
name of the book, ma'am?
Zindagi hasi hai. Zindagi haseen hai.
Zindagi Haseen Hai.
That
Uh,
would be the name of the book. Zindagi
and
haseen hai.
and I would recommend a name also, Indrani ji, for Ms. Rita Chatterjee. When she writes a book on, you know, autobiography for herself, it might get titled as Autobiography of an Institution. uh, Thank you so much.
Subtitle, subtitle would be My Growing with It. Subtitle, My Growing with It.
My growing with it. We have Anita Bhattacharya. Her statement in a comment is absolutely, sir. Today's situation has actually made we teacher more creative and innovative. We are truly connected to our students the same way. Anita Bhattacharya is reinforcing that there is no gap in the connection and the connectivity. The social quotient also, given the limitations, is being taken care of course, अगर मुलाकातें हो जाती तो बहुत अच्छा रहता. नहीं भी है तो virtually भी मुलाकातें हो रही हैं. And in every episode of mine, I am making it very clear that though we are calling it social distancing, it is more about physical distancing because we've become more social through these virtual mode. मैं अपने भाई बहन रिश्तेदारों से मुझे नहीं याद कि जब कोरोना नहीं था तो हो सकता है महीना 2 महीना पे भी निकल जाते थे, बात नहीं होती थी. लेकिन अभी हर हफ्ते में बात होती है. कोई ऐसा फंक्शन नहीं है जब हम साथ नहीं होते. So we become more social than what we were before. So social quotient is not a worry at the moment. Ma'am, this brings me to you know, this lockdown we are talking about, and for long, people like us on this platform and many others, we have run a complete series where we brought school educators talking about education in staying positive in COVID times. But then now we've talked about a term, new normal. काफी उस पे हम लोगों ने बातें करी, and we have been it's now sounds like an overused word to even mention that. But then while we were talking about how 2021 will look like in the education sector, what will be the new normal like, we were talking about, we were giving a lot of gyan on that. Suddenly we have got this new education policy. And whether this lockdown gives the education sector a new normal or not, this education policy is going to ensure we have a new normal. Now we have two sources bringing in, connecting us to the new normal we are heading towards, the education policy and the Corona COVID lockdown. So how do you see things shaping up in times to come?
See, can you hear me? Yeah, there was a call coming.
Right.
There's a lot of background noise. Yeah, so your question was the new education policy and how do we see? See, one thing along with me, my colleagues will also, I think, stress upon this, that we haven't found anything really fantastically new. It is what we are already practicing in our school. For example, what I particularly really enjoyed was the first 5 years, when the 3 years of preschooling and then classes 1 and 2 and no examination up to class 2. This was a system, if you remember, some years ago under CBSE as well. And from class 3 onwards, examinations, formal examinations would begin. We are already doing that now. But I have to say that this new education policy talks about universal access, which is really what is required. It talks about
Right.
equity, it talks about quality, it talks about having a global perspective out of local uh, resources, which is actually what is needed. We should
Okay.
realize that we have enough resources at hand to be able to be good influencers and get children to be able to understand their lessons better and move on the right path. So the
Right.
first 5 years, I think the initial period has been very clearly outlined and very correctly so. And
All
they're not
right. So
anywhere saying that you have to use a regional language or you have to use a national language. They're saying you may use English, but children should be able to understand in their mother tongue, which is, I think, very fair. Very, very fair.
okay. All right.
Yes, Amitabh, you
So
were saying something.
you feel that the new education policy is a welcome change, much needed change, and it is more
It's
global
a
in
welcome.
nature, global perspective with local
Absolutely.
resources.
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
so
And it encourages a lot of, sorry, it encourages a lot of creativity, a lot of critical thinking. It
right,
is, the examinations that are going to be conducted at every phase
right.
by the competent authority makes us realize that probably next time our results at PISA is going to be better than last time. So I think it's required. I think it's good. It's good.
So the pedagogical shift that it is bringing is a welcome change, according to you.
It's a welcome change. It's a welcome change.
All right. So now this brings me
It
to
will take
another.
time.
Yeah, please go ahead, ma'am.
Sorry,
Please go ahead.
it'll take time to work the schools to work themselves around it. It'll take, and but if we go through the quality accreditation systems, I do not
Right.
think it's a problem. I don't think it's a problem.
So it's only going to enhance the quality of education, and our systems are going to be much better.
Much better, much better.
And I think there was some work long overdue because the we haven't had a policy review for a pretty long time. It has taken decades for a new effort to come because India has progressed in a big way. We needed a change in education sector
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Last time was in '86. So yeah,
Right, last one,
this was before.
absolutely. And now this brings me to another very important question that we are right now going virtual. Education policy says has brought in a lot of changes, which from the policy it will probably take some time before it becomes translated in being an act. And
Yeah,
that will be the time that the institutions will have to prepare themselves and organize themselves for this new policy implementation. Now,
correct.
how do you see the current mode of virtual learning, uh, blending with the new policy approach that has come? Is it a good preparation before we go? Everyone is getting used to the virtual mode. Is it a good preparation before we go into the new educational policy mode as well?
I think so because see, when we are already talking about blended learning, we are hoping that children, when they will be able to come into school, the senior classes, teachers will know what they need to teach upfront, what the child can take on online, and what they will have to come back with the next day. So it's a blended learning that is already coming in. So I
Right,
think it's only correct that technology is going to play a large role. And it is helping. I mean, today, if tech was not there, we wouldn't have been able to reach out to our children. And I shudder to think what really would have happened. Amitabh, I must tell you that
right.
when the 19th of March, when this pandemic was declared and we all were shut in our homes, I got frantic phone calls from parents. Madam, ki have? How do we manage our children? And it was necessary, and therefore this online system was necessary. And therefore, yes, technology will play a big role, and it's important. It's important, and it's important for all of us. It's important for all of us to be initiated into it. We should know it. We who are going
Absolutely.
to be teachers of the 21st century learners, we need to be able to address them their style.
Absolutely. And I'm going to make a big statement on Ed Talks with Amitabh today. गीता में लिखा है, सब लोग जानते हैं, कई बार बड़े बुजुर्गों ने हमें आपको सबको बताया है, जो हुआ अच्छे के लिए हुआ, जो हो रहा है अच्छे के लिए हो रहा है, और जो होगा वो अच्छा ही होगा. And friends, in a way, if you look at the timing of this, us going virtual, compelled to use technology, getting onto the virtual mode, and teachers, while trying to ensure learning, have gone on to the project method of learning. The teachers are giving assignment, giving the projects to the children to work on that and make a submission of the
Amitabh,
projects.
Amitabh, I want to tell you that the textbooks now are in constructivist mode. So this technology enabled learning is necessary. It has already come in. It will move forward. It will escalate. And, we have been trained to do experiential learning. So unless the child is able to experience what the child is learning or listening, there is no comprehension. There is no application. So therefore, these are things that we already have been doing, and the new education policy only complements it, I think.
It only complemented, and the technology driven education is going to be the order of 21st century education. Experiential learning is the order of the day, and project method is going to be used in a big way, and that is exactly during this lockdown what the schools and teachers and educators are using. So there is a homework and the preparatory ground already set by design or by default, that institutions are getting ready for the implementation of.
We are also, Amita, we are also being trained in adaptive testing. So, the children will be, and we are being trained to understand that children are facing a difficult time along with their parents. So the adaptive testing first lot will be very, very simple questions. Those questions we push to the students, they answer that. Then the second lot. So it is a system which is absolutely technology enabled, and I think it will be good. It is required.
Ma'am, when we talk about adaptive learning, I'm sure many of my viewers here would be curious to get a little more insight that how are the teachers working on the adaptive assessment at the moment?
It is done in a very, very gradual manner on a regular basis. So as and when the teacher is teaching, the teacher also knows, by the way the lesson plan has been created, when to go a degree up. And in going a degree up, the teachers realize that how the child is being able to move in. And one of the best ways of testing this is actually by organizing quizzes from your chapter, and that is done very, very regularly. So the children are also enthused, and it becomes like a quiz exercise. So they don't think they're learning, it's a quiz.
Very much so. And thank you for explaining that, ma'am. And I also feel that along with adaptive learning, those who are interested in knowing about it, I think we are going back to the formative ways of ensuring the learning. And that is where the adaptive assessment also is getting in vogue. And the new education policy is making a very, very significant use of that when the pedagogical shift comes up. We've been doing that. Now it is going to be a mandate. We will be compelled to do that because it is now a policy as well. Now this brings me to a point, ma'am, when we this is something which is totally away from the education, and I would like to talk about the headship, the principalship. I am ahead of my organization. You are ahead of your organization. There are a few viewers, they are ahead of their respective organizations. And I always say that we are very uh, lonely at the top, because we have to take all the pressures. And everyone is talking about the teacher, the child, and Indrani ji once in one of the platforms, she mentioned while we were together, that what about principals? So how difficult, how smooth is the role of a head of an institution at the helm of it? Because I have been constantly on every platform saying that principal is like a Trishanku. The teachers say that whatever principal is saying is voice of the management. Management says that it is the voice of the you are becoming the voice of the teacher. So you are representing both the sides wherever it is needed. So how difficult and easy it is to be a head of an institution? You've been a principal for almost about 28 plus years.
Amitabh, first of all, I refute that we are lonely at the top. No, we're not
Okay.
lonely. We're not lonely. Now, the thing is this, if you are going to feel that you are at the top and therefore you are in an ivory tower, then you will feel lonely. But the minute you realize that you're not in an ivory tower and you have a very open door policy, you are actually formulating along with the teachers and along with the management, you're never lonely. You are with the group, you are with everybody. So I mean, I have never had a very lonely journey, really, honestly speaking. And from the bottom of my heart, it has been very enjoyable. It is very enjoyable. It's been very enjoyable, and it's not been a lonely journey. No, no,
Okay.
no. So
Okay.
so so uh, uh, to answer your question, I think it's important to look back into the roles of the principal, what the principal should do and how the principal should do. And the minute that how becomes different, and each one of us work by our own philosophy. What has happened with me is academia and life has become one.
Right.
Academia is not separate from life. In my case, it
Right.
has become one. So therefore, for me, it has been a movement with everybody, the parents
Okay.
also, with all the stakeholders in school. So not a single decision, I mean, any decision, be the it is considered sometimes very difficult decisions, certain decisions, but even there we always work it out with the parents, with the children, and then we take it very gradually. So it has never
And
been very
it's
lonely.
never been like
I
that.
think it's
It
very
was true. Great.
never
Great to
lonely.
hear that.
Never lonely.
And this brings me to a question, ma'am.
I've had
Uh,
Amita, one thing is I
yeah.
must say this, that whilst the management, management must have been fantastic. Whilst the management is fantastic, the team of teachers that have helped the management and those decisions to come through are also very solid people. And it is the entire team that works in the school. It's not the principal alone. It's not the
Your
principal
principal
alone.
is only as good as the team is. And
Absolutely. Absolutely.
an
Absolutely.
organization is a length and a shadow of a leader at the same time. And
Yes,
it's a
absolutely.
symbiotic relationship.
Absolutely. You treat it like your own family, and that's it.
Thank you so much for sharing that, ma'am. And I would like to ask, knowing you for so many years, I mean, it's almost 2, 3 decades that we know each other. And I know that you have a way with people. You connect with people so beautifully, be it teachers, be it parents, be it students, with every segment. You connect so very beautifully. My question to you is, what is the secret of your ability to connect with every age group and everyone?
Passion. Passion. It's
Okay.
just pure passion. It's just pure passion. And I must say, I must be uh, lucky. I must be very, very lucky that I get a lot of support from my family as well. So therefore, I can put in a lot of time, a lot of passion, a lot of heart, a lot of warmth with people who come to see me. And I really believe this, Amitabh. I believe that a parent who is speaking to you has an issue, and therefore the parent has come up to talk to the principal or the teacher, and the principal or the teacher can have the same problem. It's human to human interaction after all, and by solving the problem of the parent, maybe I am setting a record that if certain things like this happen, this is the way we can go about it. So
All right.
therefore I think it's important that we are able to talk and discuss and we listen. I think a very important quality of being a school head, the teacher in the class, is that we are able to listen, not simply hear. Listen what the unsaid word, look for the unsaid word. That's important. What has not been said, try and hear that. So
Look
that
for
region.
the unsaid word, look for the emotions behind, and that helps you connect. And the
Yeah.
primary factor is passion. If you have a passion, there will be
The
ways you'll be able
passion
to find to do
and the
what you
zeal.
said.
The passion and the zeal and the enthusiasm pulls you through.
Passion, zeal, and enthusiasm always pulls you through, and that is the mantra that Mrs. Chatterjee is sharing with all of us. Ma'am, it's 5 o'clock. It's all good things come to an end, and we'll have to, close our interaction here. But I would like you to share your closing words to all our viewers who are watching us live or who will view it in the recorded mode later on.
I just have to, what I tell my children is, who should you love the most? You should love yourself the most, because if you love yourself the most, you do not allow the other person to insult you, and you look after your own dignity. So love yourself. All of us, we need to love ourselves, look after ourselves, and cheers to life.
So love yourself, look after yourself, and cheers to life. Because if you cannot love yourself, you cannot love anyone else around you as well. Because the journey begins from self. Have respect for everyone, but do love yourself first. So, friends, we are coming to an end. Thank you so much, Ms. Chatterjee, for being part of our show and being so forthcoming, straightforward in your deliberation and responding to a lot of queries and the statements being put up by our viewers there. So,
I
thank you.
enjoyed my time. I enjoyed my time.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being with us. Friends, you are watching Ed Talks with Amitabh only on the School Times web channel, and you were listening to Ms. Rita Chatterjee, Principal and Administrator of Apeejay Education Trust, Kolkata. And I'm sure you will agree with me, when you spend time in a profession with passion, zeal, and enthusiasm, as she signed off with these three words for us, you have it in you. And it was so very evident from the experience sharing that Mrs. Chatterjee was having with all of us. I'm sure that you enjoyed the session, enriching and informative. I had lessons to learn for myself. I'm sure you also found the same. फिर मिलेंगे next Monday, same time, 4 o'clock, with another social educational influencer. Till then, stay tuned. Keep watching the School Times Ed Talks with Amitabh. This is Amitabh Mohan signing off.